not go to that class in kindergarten, that whole share thing? I get that.
Hey.
He was busy doing weddings or something, I don't know.
As my mom told her, if you want it, fight for it. Hey, I grew up in a family
All right.
of 7.
Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:30, and I'll now call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the next item is the approval of minutes from our regular meeting on September 7th. Has everyone been able to review those minutes? If so, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Thank you, Sean.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ralph. Any errors, changes, or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Next item is the acceptance of the agenda. I don't have any changes to tonight's agenda, so I will entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion, we accept the agenda.
And I'll second as well.
Thank you both. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Under communications and correspondence, I do have a couple items. The first is you may have seen that on Monday, the town of Portland was awarded a steep grant for $400,000. And I know this board had approved the use of fund balance to come up with the match back in June, I believe. So I want to thank the Board of Selectmen and also the Governor's Office and OPM for giving us this grant. We're able to do sidewalks and continue the sidewalks on Main Street. And we're going to start where we left off on the corner of Arvid Road and Main Street, and we're going to continue north. And I'm hopeful that this will get us to around Gildersleeve. That would be ideal. The plan was to get all the way down Main Street and repair all of the sidewalks, but I'm hoping that we can stretch this and at least get to Gildersleeve. So we're going to have to see how far the funds allow us to go, but it's great news for the town. I know that a lot of those sidewalks are in bad shape, so that's a big win for us, so thank you all. The next item, I'm going to turn it over to John Dillon. Selectman Dillon is with us virtually tonight, and I believe he has a letter to read. Hi, John.
Hi, Ryan. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
I received this letter late yesterday afternoon, and I actually got it over to Ryan this morning. I apologize for not being able to be there in person tonight. It's through the Board of Selectmen from the Friends of the Portland Food Bank. And the subject of this document is renaming the Portland Food Bank the Ruth and Lindsay Mayo Food Bank. It was signed by 13 individuals, and if you bear with me, I'd just like to read it because I think there's a lot of very good information here. It says, Portland Board of Selectmen, for over 25 years, the Portland Food Bank has served residents of Portland. And for over 25 years, Ruth and Lindsay Mayo have been synonymous with the Portland Food Bank. Since the mid-1990s, when the first selectman at the time asked Ruth to manage the food bank, it's been a critical service that many residents have relied on to make ends meet and provide for their families. Over the years, the Portland Food Bank has helped thousands of families. Ruth and her husband Lindsay were recognized as the first recipients of the Ralph Paley Spirit of Portland Award in 2009. The work Ruth and Lindsay have done over the years has earned them the appreciation and respect of the Portland community. In previous interviews, statements have been made that reflect this sentiment. Eileen Burke was quoted as saying, "I have come across so many people who say, if Ruth hadn't been there, I don't know what I would have done. It's routine, they just do it." A quote from Carol Revicki reflects similar sentiment. The Mayos lead by example, and Ruth and Lindsay go above and beyond. If they know the family that needs a bed, they put the word out and go from the beginning to the end. Revicki also said, everyone down there makes people feel comfortable. They make you feel like this could happen to anyone, and you came to the right place. I don't know what the town would do without them. Whether a family has needed food, clothing, help for kids, gifts for kids at Christmas, or other needs, Ruth and the team of volunteers she manages have been there to help for decades. Given their lifetime of dedication to service to those in need, we, the undersigned, are asking the Board of Selectmen to take an action that honors their service. Specifically, we ask the Portland Food Bank be renamed the Ruth and Lindsay Mayo Food Bank, and that money be allocated to procure appropriate signage designated as such. Your consideration in support of this request is greatly appreciated, with sincere appreciation, and there are 13 signatures on it. I think I can read them all if you like. If not, I can tell you there's 13 signatures.
Yeah, would you like to read them, Jen? That's fine.
Yeah, Kevin Backman, Jim Tripp, Debbie Sullivan, this is the one I know it's Larry, I can't read the last name, Larry T, and there's some name on there. I have a Bogdan, and Edna Alahani, sorry for, I can't read it, Peter Sullivan, Trish Anderson, Mike Pelton, Carolyn Peter Ravicki, Kim Franklin, and Connie Sullivan. I can't agree more, and I told Ryan this today, all I would propose after reading this is maybe we can add it on to our new business and talk a little more about it then.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I think I think this is it's a great letter from the Friends of the Food Bank, and I think we should talk about it under item 11, Board of Selectmen General Informal Discussion, and then we can discuss options and then put it on a future agenda for this. It's an important. It's a great. I'm glad this was brought up, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. Thank you, John. That is it under communications and correspondence. So we'll move to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience?
Nothing in the chat.
We all looked at you.
And nothing in the chat. Okay, we can move on to the monthly report from the Committee on Solidarity. I believe, Noel, are you here to give the report this month?
Yes.
How you doing, Noel?
Yes, thank you. I'm doing well, thanks, Ryan. And sorry I have to be here via Zoom, but, so a quick report, we sent out an email to our first responders. So far we've heard back from the police department and the CERT team. We are going to be featuring weekly articles with departmental photos and reviews during the month of October. We're also going to be running this on social media each week. We'll be putting thank you first responder signs in front of the police station, each of the 3 fire departments, the public works building, and town hall to represent the CERT team. The first responders solidarity banner will be hung outside. This is a banner similar to the ones that you saw during Solidarity Month. So it'll be hung outside the police department, but we need to remind public works about this since Bob Shea changed departments. He was one of them for us last time. The last item here is our resource pamphlet that came out I think a little over a year ago. It's currently being updated. We're going to finish the updates this week and have it published after our October meeting. So that's the end of the report. Thank you.
Thanks, Noel. And the flags or banners that need to be hung up, where are they now? Are they?
We'll check with, I'll talk to April, we'll check with Bob.
Okay.
I believe he capped that one when we did Solidarity Month because he wanted to use it for October.
And
we'll check and get back to you.
Okay, it's one banner, right? Which would probably
One
go.
banner, yeah.
Okay, so we'd probably put that outside the police station then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, that's what that'll go.
Okay, I'll check with our new director, Ryona Halpin. I'm sure he'll make sure that gets up. But thank you, and thank you for all you guys are doing. It's a lot of good stuff, and you guys are busy.
Thank you.
All right, we can move on to appointments and reappointments to boards and commissions. I don't believe none, and none. So, all right, we'll move on to new business then. Under item A under new business is potential amendment of the non-union pay plan for fiscal year 2022 to 2023, and in particular the ZEO, which is our zoning and enforcement official. And so I just want to give a little background to why this is on the agenda. We have been looking for a zoning enforcement officer for many months, and we've been posting on the CCM website, that's the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, as well as on Indeed, the town website, the River East. You know, we really use every source that we can. And we did have, after some months, we had 4 interviews scheduled a couple weeks ago. And we scheduled the interviews, we had them, and we had none actually show up. So so it's been difficult to get a ZEO. And we're not alone. Many towns all over the state are experiencing the same problem. And so if you look at those job postings, as I mentioned on the CCM website, you'll see numerous other towns looking for ZEOs and all sorts of positions. That's just the nature of the economy as it is currently. And so because of that, I was talking with our planner, Dan Beret, and the hourly rate right now for the ZEO is $27.15 an hour. And so this is at what's budgeted is that rate for a 25-hour work week. And so the thinking was, well, right now we have a 0-hour work week. So if we were going to bring that down, the number of hours, say from 25 to 20, maybe we can boost that hourly rate up a little bit to make it a little more attractive and hopefully find a prospective, employee. So what I'd suggest is that we raise it from $27.15 an hour to $30 an hour, with the hopes that that would fall in line with the budget, that's covered with the budget. We would just work less hours. And I think that we can get all the zoning work that we need to do done in 20 hours, given the situation. So that's the background, that's my proposal, so I'll open it up for discussion amongst the selectmen.
How long would that be for? Would it be a 6-month contract, a 12-month to be reviewed, depending on how the work goes?
No, so we would amend the payment plan tonight, and then we would be able to post that job at that higher salary or higher hourly rate. And then the understanding would be that anyone who is hired would be at that rate with a potential cost of living adjustment next July as we, do the budget and we look at the numbers for next fiscal year. So this is a bump because just the market that we're in as far as trying to find help.
Would it create any issues with the current union?
It's a
positions
non-union.
No, I
It's a
know this is a
non-union.
non-union, but would it create any other issues by bumping up the pay?
Not to my knowledge. We did look to make sure that, that wouldn't be higher. And then, you're right. You don't want to create any conflicts when you do that. I don't see any. We did look at that. I think that it's what, $2.85 an hour difference, but, I'm hoping that the $30 an hour makes us, more attractive, so.
Right, and
Thank you very much.
we're reducing the work week by 5 hours.
Correct.
So it's not like we're increasing the pay
Right.
and they're working the same amount of hours, so.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, I think by just getting into that $30 an hour plane, trying to get somebody into that position, it might sway somebody to take a part-time job in that position. I think it's a good idea. Actually, it's a week compared to 600 a week.
So, anybody, John or Mike, you guys good?
I'm fine, I think we just need to prepare to have a backup plan should it not work.
Well, we do have a backup plan. I should add, it's not like we don't have zoning enforcement going on right now. We still are using Teich planning. And so I'll actually get to that later in the meeting, but they are doing a very good job as far as our zoning matters go, and they are on top of things for us. As well as our planner, Dan Beret, was a former ZEO himself, so he knows the ropes and he knows all the regulations and all that. So we are in good shape, but we still, I feel could use a ZEO to free up resources in other areas, which I'll talk about later. so. All right, so would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we increase the pay for the zoning enforcement officer from $27.15 an hour for a 25-hour work week to $30 an hour for a 20-hour work week.
Is there a second?
I'll second
I'll
that.
second that.
All right, I think Ralph beat you, John. That's what you get for not being in person.
I just want to see how remote works.
So motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. The next item under new business, item B, is a resolution contract agreement with SLR International Corporation, and this is on the high school track. We received some good news last week, I believe it was last Monday, where the state approved our contract. So we are now able to enter into first we have to, whenever we get grant money, we have to enter into a contract with the state, and then once the state gives us the green light, then we can enter into a contract with whoever we need to get the work done. So we did go out to bid. We did a competitive bid, first with an RFQ and then with an RFP, and SLR was selected. They were the low bidder for one thing, but also they will be able to deliver a new track, and hopefully, according to what they're saying, by late summer, early fall of 2023. So that's a good timetable, and with that, I need the board's permission to authorize me or Dr. Britton, Superintendent Britton, to be able to enter into a contract with SLR so we can get this project moving along. So that's what the resolution is before you. For the purposes of moving along, does someone want to read and make a motion, and we can talk about it after?
I'll do that.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right. Resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, September 21st, 2022. Contract agreement with SLR International Corporation. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes First Selectman Ryan J. Curley and/or his designee, Superintendent of Schools Charles D. Britton, ED, to execute and deliver in the name of and on behalf of the Town of Portland, Portland Board of Ed, a contract with SLR International Corporation of 99 Realty Drive, Cheshire, Connecticut, 06410, for the purpose of our RFP number 2022-11A, landscape architect, engineer design services for the reconstruction and replacement of the running track at Portland High School. Total contract amount prior to any required change orders is approximately $34,750, with materials testing to be responsibility of the construction contractor.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mike. All right, any discussion on this?
Just quick clarification, so this contractor is doing the design of the track. There's a separate contractor that's going to do the building of the track?
Correct.
All right,
Yep.
and has that already been chosen, or is it dependent upon this?
No, we're gonna have to go out to bid on that
Okay.
too.
So the dates of fall next year are based on this should be executed, and they should be able to deliver the design quick enough to get one of the other contractors to do it in time?
Correct. The plan is with this, and if you want, Mike, I can send you there's a timetable that came with the bid that you
Got
can
it.
take a look at, and it shows exactly, but currently, the plan is that they're gonna get to work on designing basically right away, as soon as we can execute this contract. And then the plan is to go out to bid sometime this winter to get everything lined up so that we can go out and actually construct the track in the spring and
Yeah.
summer.
I only ask because now that I'm doing the cross-country team, I'm talking to even more parents that are asking about the track all the time. So I know,
Yeah.
there's probably people watching tonight, so that's the first question they'll ask.
No,
So
yeah, it's.
I'll pass that, that's the goal.
Pass it along. I think we can do it. I
You got
know, I really want this done. I know how much it means to our athletes as well as our walkers and
Yes.
everyone else in town that uses the track. So,
Absolutely.
So yeah, okay, so a motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this?
No.
All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, sorry, John. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, I think there's a lag here. All right. All right, so the next item under new business is another resolution. This is a bid waiver on Teiche Planning and Policy Group. Now, you may recall Teiche Planning, and that is John Guzkowski, as well as previously also Mike Diamato, has been filling in the land use office prior to Dan Beret starting as planner. And so they really came in filling the planner role, the ZEO role, as well as economic development role. And I think that they've done a very good job in that time. With Dan moving to planner, they kind of shifted their role and they've scaled back the work that they're doing for the town, but they are still doing zoning enforcement as well as economic development. And my thinking is that we have budgeted an economic development consultant. So what I would like to see is I'd like to see us have a ZEO and have John focus strictly on economic development going forward. That, I think, would be the best use of their time. But also just having them working with the town is a benefit because of their experience. John is a very experienced and certified planner who is in many towns already, working in many towns, and he's been very beneficial to have for advice on many of our larger projects, especially with Brainerd Place. So I think it makes sense to continue using them, but we have to procure them. It's either we do a bid waiver or we would have to go out to bid and potentially get someone completely new. And seeing as we've been working with them since March or April now, I think it's April, they've been doing a very good job, and I would like to continue working with them with the board's approval to do a bid waiver. So that's why I'm coming to you tonight to ask for that.
Ryan, is there any legal exposure to the town by rating this bid?
No, not to my knowledge, no. This is, I believe it's in the town's best interests, and this is something that we can do as a board. It's up to the board to decide. If you remember, we didn't, back when we originally procured them in the first place, we were kind of in a bind, so that's why we didn't go through the formalities then. We really needed someone in the planning department. So now that we were in a good shape with the land use office, we need to formalize them if they're going to continue working with the town. So, that's a good question though, John.
I just read through it. The only question I have, is there an end date to this of when it would be renewed?
It would be for this fiscal year, let's say.
It would end June 30th, 23.
Correct, unless we were to renew that. This is budgeted. This is budgeted under line item under economic development. So this is something that we budgeted. The only difference is if we weren't to do this, we'd have to go out to bid. We'd have to do an RFP and then go through that process.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to have an end date included with it. So
Okay. Yeah, so to bring it back to the board for next fiscal year, is that?
if we want to extend it, we extend it, or if we have someone that we want to hire for the position, then just so it doesn't continuously roll on.
Just so you know, the way that the contract is written with Teiche Planning is that we are both able to end the contract at any time, given 2 weeks
30
notice.
days or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks notice. So we're not in any mandate to keep going with this. If it's in the best interest of the town to go in a different direction, we absolutely can. So this wouldn't limit us.
Okay.
Any other questions? Someone like to introduce the resolution?
I'll read it. Resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut. September 21st, 2022. Request for waiver of bid requirements for Teiche Planning and Policy Group. Whereas the town of Portland has been working with Teiche Planning and Policy Group since March 2022 as an interim consultant in support for the Land Use Department and the technical functions related to the administration of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Economic Development Commission, and Zoning Board of Appeals, and whereas the town wishes to continue engaging Teiche Planning and Policies Group services to support and advise land use staff, and whereas Teiche Planning and Policy Group of 215 East Main Street, Suite 1, Vernon, Connecticut, 06066. Now therefore be it resolved that in the best interest of the town, pursuant to Section 1208, subsection 7 of the Portland Charter, the Board of Selectmen hereby waives the bidding requirements of Section 1208 of the Portland Charter as it pertains to utilizing Teiche Planning and Policy Group as the vendor to provide for the consulting and support for land use matters, and be it further resolved that the Board of Selectmen authorizes the first selectman, Ryan J. Curley, to act on behalf of the town of Portland to enter into any agreements.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Sean. Any discussion on this? Any further discussion, I should say? All right, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right, we can move on to refunds of excess payments. Bobby?
Have a motion for refund of excess payment for Laurel Bonham Duval for $17.81.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payments for Mary L. Gordon, $18.56.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payments, Michelle E. Zupa, $554.08.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payments for CCAP Auto Lease Limited, $401.39.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion refund of excess payments for CCAP Auto Lease Limited, $318.78.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment for Thomas and Sons Barrows Limited, $12.39.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payment for Christopher Donich, $36.50.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payment for Tatis Stosky, $34.73.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment for Dwayne W. Russell, $17.35.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment for Scott W. Morganson and Sylvia V. Morganson, $34.21.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment, Loretta Foley, $57.25.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment, John J. Popolaski, $1,092.60.
Second it?
All those in, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for refund of excess payment, Laura E. Benson, Matthew D. Lejeune, $1,223.09.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Ralph. All right, we can move on to item 9, status and committee reports. I'll start. I just have a couple things to update the board on in the town. Some good news is the Brownstone Avenue project, which is 248 Brownstone Avenue, the remediation is underway. They started yesterday. They were on site and they're remediating. So if you drive down Brownstone Avenue, you'll see a lot of trucks tomorrow. And I think it's going to take about 3 weeks, but there's a lot of work to do. They're going to be working very quickly, and this is going to help get this property back in order and hopefully ready for redevelopment. So it's really exciting that this is finally happening. So that's a really good thing to get this remediation started. So thank you to Enviro Consultants and Recyclers. They're the company that's doing all the remediation work. And then Ty and Bond has been overseeing the project as well. And so there is some unfortunate news that I do want to share is that our RFP, as you remember, we've been looking for a public-private partnership. We've been looking for a restaurant development of some kind for this site. We went out to, we issued an RFP back in May, and it was out all summer, and it closed on September 13th, and we did not get any bids on that. And so it shouldn't be too discouraging because there's more work to do with the site. There's more remediation work to do with the site. And I did talk with some developers that were interested in the property. And so I think that we're going to be in a very good position down the road. But so this is a minor setback, but I feel like this is still a great property and we're going to be able to make this work. And furthermore, one of the reasons I think that this was kind of held up a little bit was because the remediation work that's underway can't do the full remediation. We don't have enough money to complete the work. And so because of that, I've been working with Ty and Bond, and we're applying for a new round of grant funding with DECD. And that grant is due on Friday, and we'll be asking for another $1.5 million from the state. And if we are able to receive this grant, we can fully remediate the property. We can fully remediate 222, 230, and 248. So that will help us to be much more attractive for business and development and getting this property making money for the town of Portland, again, in some capacity. We don't know yet. But I just wanted to let the board know where we were at with that. So as soon as I hear back on that grant, I will let this board know, and hopefully we are able to be awarded those funds. The next item is some good news with our shelter diversion program. I think you may recall that this program was started under Susan Bransfield's tenure. This was a grant that was awarded from the Department of Housing, and this is a really good program where the town of Portland is the hub for the housing in the area, for the Coordinated Access Network, the CAN. And so we are one of 3 towns in the state that run and facilitate this program. And what we do is we are working with Mercy Housing, and they run the 211 program that for people who are in danger of becoming homeless and need help. The 211 program is a great outreach program. And so this program that we have currently, there's 2 employees working with Mercy for the town of Portland that are also, but not only are they working with the town of Portland, but they're working with the surrounding area and other people in need of help further down the river. And so this whole project was set to end in December of 2022, and we had recently received an extension that would carry us to June 30th of 2023. And we've recently been informed by DOH that they are now extending this program to December 31st of 2023. And not only that, they're giving the town, the grant, an additional $444,000. $444,425. And this is on top of the original $306,000 grant. And with this, we are going to be able to have, Mercy will be able to hire 3 additional employees, and they're going to be called, I have this written down here, because mobile divergent workers. And one of them will be stationed in Portland every day of the week. So Monday through Friday with this, we'll have a Mercy worker here able to help Portland residents in need, as well as those in other areas. But this is a really big win for the town, because not only are we able to help the surrounding areas, but we're able to bring on more workers. There's going to be five of these employees working for Mercy. And so it's a great grant extension, and so I just want to thank the Department of Housing for extending this program, and Mercy Housing for being such a great partner with this. So it's good for the town, and it's good for our neighbors. So let's see. As far as, I do want to update the Board of Selectmen as far as Brainerd Place. I did stop by this afternoon. Dan Bertram was in town, and he invited me to tour the property with him, and we've been talking about that fixed assessment agreement. I reached out to our attorneys at Shipman and Goodwin, and they have recommended that we amend the agreement that we have in place. So we're not throwing out the agreement, that fixed assessment agreement that was signed by the previous board in October, and then we have made some amendments and revisions to, but it is in our best interest and the developer's interest to amend that agreement. And so my plan is, I'm working with our attorneys as well as the developer, and the plan is to have a draft in place for October 5th, their Board of Selectmen meeting on October 5th. So I've asked Matt Ritter, the attorney for Shipman and Goodwin, to attend that meeting, and we will have a meeting with the Board of Selectmen and our attorney in executive session to go over that amendment to that fixed assessment agreement. So I'm working on that and hope to have that for you all to review and to discuss and potentially take action on at our upcoming meeting. So I just wanted to give everybody an update on that. I do have some more news on our water grant that I feel like I know I've been talking about this forever, and it seems that way. I had signed the contract with DPH back August 17th, and it first needs to be signed by DPH, and it needs to be signed by the town, and it also needs to be signed off by the Attorney General's office. And I guess when it went to the AG's office, they kicked it back for several reasons, several detailed, legalese reasons that needed to be fixed on the contract. And it just came back to me this morning, and I just signed off on it again. So I'm hoping that now it needs to go back to the AG's office, which they should get it quickly. It didn't take them long the last time to review it, and I'm hoping to be able to have that news to share with you quickly. And I apologize that it's taken this long. I didn't expect that this would take this long, but it's just every time, it's just the nature of it. So we're working as quickly as we can. I think that contract was in my inbox for maybe 20 minutes before I signed it. So I'm trying. That's all I can do. Is push it along as quickly as possible. So I want to let everybody know that, and that's it for updates for me. Ralph?
Okay, I have a few. Park and Rec hasn't met yet. They canceled their meeting, but they're meeting on next Monday. But they are part of a group that's been discussing the fall and winter events. The Park and Rec, Library, Youth Services, Economic Development, Senior Center. They've all been discussing the events that would occur in the fall. Certainly October 28th is trick-or-treating on Main Street, so that's that will go as planned, as it has in the past. October 29th is the 5K race. That is on. The only thing I would say is that they are discussing about having a fall and Halloween event right after the race at the park. They're in the midst of discussing it, so I don't know if there's any more details to share until I know they've gone further with their planning. And the third event is the tree lighting that would occur on December 4th. They are discussing whether they would add the lighted parade back with that, but again, that's being discussed. It's early in discussion, so we will have the tree lighting and maybe potentially add the lighted parade back. We'll have to see how it plays out. With regards to the library, couple events coming up. Their Read and Recycle event is going to be on September 24th, and that will be followed by their fall book sale, which will be October 21st to 23rd. They are working, the library board is discussing a logo that they could have for the library. They know they need a new sign. The sign needs to be replaced, and so it kind of triggered this discussion about a logo. So they're in the midst of discussing a logo that would go with the new sign. So, I guess the only other thing that obviously of note, and I think everyone was here for for water and sewer. We had a joint meeting and we had a demonstration of an ultrasonic metering system. And so that's being discussed within the Water and Sewer Commission. We know the ultrasonic meters are more accurate than the mechanical meters, and they last longer because they are not mechanical, they're ultrasonic, so they're gonna last twice as long, maybe longer. So that is something that's being discussed, and I'm sure there'll be more discussions with regards to that. And probably the only other thing is, I know they were at the time discussing that there was gonna be a valve repair on Co Avenue, and I think by now it might have been done.
It's done.
So it was done
We did
last
it
week.
Monday, I think.
Yep.
It's done. Yep.
So that is what I have.
Great. Thank you, Ralph. Anyone else? Any updates? All right. We'll move to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience? Nothing in the chat. Okay. All right. We'll move to the Board of Selectmen general and informal discussion. And I think we should kick it off with that letter that John had read from, so I'll open up to discussion on that.
Yeah, I just want to add to this. I think it's a great idea. The last couple of years since COVID hit, I've had a chance to spend a lot of time down there, and I agree with this. I mean, these guys work their butts off down there. I've heard more stories from people that have come there over the years with how much it's helped them. These guys are just a wonderful, wonderful couple anyways, but I 100% agree with this. And I'm actually wondering if we all feel the same way. Is it something that has to be put to the next meeting, or is it something that we could do tonight?
Well,
I'm not trying to rush it or anything, but I don't know if there's any reason.
Yeah, just a couple things with this. So whenever something, comes up, I mean, I agree. We have to do something. There are some logistical things to think about when it comes with this. So one thing that came up immediately was, right now when people donate to the food bank, they write Portland Food Bank. Right. So if you change the name and to that, I mean, it could potentially make things difficult as far, just like
Should be
when
figured out, yeah.
when the senior center went from the senior center to the Waverly Center, it did cause some, that's why I think, I think that we should certainly honor Ruth and Nunzi. That's without question. So we were kind of brainstorming, naming the whole pantry after them downstairs, with like a plaque by the door or something. something where the only thing I don't want to do is confuse people who want to, donate to the food bank or something like that. That's that's one of the things that, came up initially. So, I wouldn't suggest, we rush whatever we do. I think we should, I think we should put it on the agenda for October 5th and come up with a real, plan to do something.
I think that makes sense.
John, does that make sense?
Yeah, would you be willing to take that back, Ryan, and just check with the powers that be to see, legally how that impacts us? And,
Yeah, no, I can look at it.
But I agree with everybody. I think this is, I've lived in town all my life, and I remember the food bank, it was always with Mayo and Lindsay. They are, as I said, they're synonymous with it, so I have no problem at all, but I understand you want to make sure that naming it doesn't confuse any legal issues with signing a check or whatever. I completely appreciate that.
Yeah, that's really it. I think everyone's in complete agreement that Ruth and Nunzi certainly deserve all the recognition that we can give them for all the years of work that they've put into that food bank. And we all, owe them a debt. So we'll figure out a way to honor them and do it, in a way that, we can, well, that's one thing I learned. Like, whenever there's a good idea, you always have to,
The
there's always-
details.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So
Nothing's easy.
but, we'll figure it out and we'll do it right. So thank you, John, for reading that, and thank you again to the Portland Food Bank, the Friends of the Food Bank, for bringing this to our attention. Any other items for?
I actually just had an idea that came up on a Facebook post that I did. Someone posted about the Elmcrest property, kind of lamenting the fact that a whole bunch of beautiful trees had been taken down. And was there anything that the town could do, maybe to plant trees in another part of town or some open space? So I guess I'm putting it out there. It sounded like a really interesting idea. And I know we have money for tree trimming and cutting in town, and I think we have $25,000 put aside. Would it be possible for us to plant some trees on town property somewhere to replace the ones that may have been on the Elmcrest property? I think it's a nice idea. We have the funds for it. I'm not sure what it would cost to do, but I thought the idea was interesting. I at least wanted to bring it up here. I said I would. Bring it to the attention of others that might be smarter than I on that. But I know, green space and all that kind of stuff is important, and it's a huge difference there. I think the property's gonna be great, but they did talk about the green space that's missing there now, so.
It's a good idea.
But it is gonna get replaced too, you gotta realize.
Oh, yeah,
And
and-
they saved a lot of trees.
100%.
Yeah,
And I
they
explained
went
that as well.
through, and evaluated the trees, and the most unique species
Right.
were retained.
Of course.
So they certainly took that effort as best they could.
Oh,
But
they
yeah,
did.
they're obviously gonna
Absolutely.
plant
Yeah.
other trees on the property.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, it's gonna look great when it's done.
And then you gotta look at what actually space we own in town that we can fit trees on, that's not space that we own that's already got trees on that.
Right.
But no, it
I
is.
thought
It is
I
a
thought
good
neat
idea,
Yeah,
It
I
is.
get that.
And it's doable. So when I was on the Board of Selectmen years ago, I was on the tree planting subcommittee. We had a tree subcommittee,
Yeah.
and we would meet and we did budget money for tree planting,
Yeah.
and then we selected areas to plant trees. And so that's something that we could revisit again.
Yeah.
It was funny because I was also back then on the sidewalk committee too. And then, you're planting these
Cutting
trees,
trees that you
and
chop the other ones
then you
down.
plant them, and then they destroy the sidewalk, and so then you have to replace it.
Right.
So,
Job security.
It's,
'Cause I know you guys planted a bunch on East Main Street by the cemetery that all came down because they had some disease.
yeah, but we can look into that, Mike. Yeah,
that was a neat
absolutely.
idea, so.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had today.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I have a couple simple things. Since this is the last weekend for the summer hours at the transfer station,
Mm-hmm.
I talked with a few people, and I talked with one of the workers at the transfer station, and instead
Oh,
of.
hold on a second. Guys, can you hear Bobby? Because you're not in the, why don't you move the mic
Move the
up?
mic over.
I just want to make sure everyone can hear you.
All right. This is the last weekend for the summer hours of the transfer station. Instead of talking about this every year, if we came up with a more permanent solution if it ran from Memorial Day to Labor Day every year, that's what everyone considers summer. Memorial Day kicks it off, and Labor Day is the end of summer for everyone going back to school. So if we had that scheduled as summer hours every year, we wouldn't be changing the date of the middle of June, the middle of September, the middle of October. Just holiday to holiday, and be done with it.
Makes sense.
Is there consensus to put that on an agenda item for October 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Yeah, all right, so good idea.
Okay. The other thing I have, a couple businesses on Main Street were wondering if the town could put a couple more trash cans out. I know when they, years ago, did the sidewalks and the benches, garbage cans were placed, but there's a big break on the west side of Main Street from Malili's to 66, there's no garbage cans. So a couple businesses wanted to know if the town could put 1, 2, 3, whatever they think fits in there, because they've been seeing a lot of garbage from Burger King wrappers, scratch tickets, and they said they're picking it up every day. There's just a gap on that side for some reason.
I'll talk with Public Works about that.
Okay.
I think it's probably a good idea. Our grounds crew they work very hard as it is, but yeah, let me look into it and see what we can do.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Listen, I do have one more thing.
Sure.
This side of the table's asking all the questions today. So, speaking of local businesses, I've had discussions with Darlene and Dean down at the Quarry View. They've actually, I'm not sure if they've spoken to any of you as well, but they've invited, the EDC, the Board of Selectmen folks to stop on down. They've spent a lot of time on their property down there, making it look good, invested a lot of effort into it, and they're just proud of what they have down there. And they'd love for you guys to stop by if you get a chance to take a look at it. They've done a lot of renovations down there, so.
I'm looking forward to their movie premiere.
100%.
Netflix.
That'd be great.
No, you're not, because it's the same, they're having a premiere of the movie at Concentric at during our next meeting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we're gonna have to change the
There you go.
location of the meeting, huh?
but yeah. that's-
Start it later, right?
Yeah, there is a trailer. The trailer did contain 5 seconds of.
I saw that, the wall.
Of the wall there,
Yeah.
so it's exciting stuff.
It's very exciting. Thank you, Mike, though,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I would encourage everyone to stop on by. It's great down there.
It's always
Love it down
fun.
there.
Yeah, they've done so much
They've
work.
done a lot of work down there.
Women's recognition comes every couple decades, whether you like it or not. The last time, River of Dreams and Billy Joel when he was in town.
Oh, that's right.
Nobody had a clue he was here.
I did. I could arrange it.
Any other discussion? I don't have anything under the follow-up items tonight. I think, looking at two of our selectmen virtually, I think we can skip the Zoom and hybrid meetings tonight, if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything for ethics, the charter, and then we're still holding on that, fixing the real property assessment. So,
Oh,
yep.
I'm looking at my notes, but I think you answered the questions the other day when I talked to you.
Okay,
So we're good on that.
all right. Well,
It was just about the the card reader down at the town garage.
the card reader.
You said you were gonna look into
I did,
that.
I talked with Tom. The card reader's with Tom, he's working
Okay.
on that, and then the fire alarm stuff at the town garage is with Ryan O'Halpin, and he's
Okay.
working on that, so.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Oh, Ralph, go ahead.
Mike?
After you.
I got Mike. And then, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone, have a good evening.
Aye.
Good night, guys.